You are watching On Key on iSTANDtv. Keep it locked. Growing up in Camden, New Jersey, I didn't know that it was Camden, New Jersey. And for those who don't know, it's a very rural town. The only time we made the charts was like murder capital, most violent city. And I didn't really know it was that bad. You know, it was all I knew. I knew my cousins and some very close friends were doing some things that I wasn't allowed to do because I was a church boy. Dad was a pastor, mom the first lady, big old hats every Sunday. Not just Easter, every Sunday. So I was very sheltered in that I grew up very religious, very rigid, very legalistic. And you know, I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music, none of that. This is like, what, an earring? You know, you're going to hell tonight, you know? Very rigid like that. But I was always involved in the arts at the church, always involved in the music and the singing and all of that stuff. So growing up in my house was just fun in church, you know what I mean? And then it kind of grew, of course, as I got into my teens and kind of like, I'm not just going to listen to gospel. I like jazz. I like Joe Sample. I like Weather Report. I like the Yellow Jackets, you know. Then I just it kind of expanded, but it brought a different expression to what I was doing in church until, you know, you get the older people like, what is that? Even with my album now, there's a song called Work It Out. It's kind of like a trap type Work It Out song. And, you know, the older people are like, that's the sound of the world. And I'm like, no, it's not. You know, all good things come from above. So I'm taking that sound and making it a good thing. But I've always dealt with that. I've always been different. But I've always wanted to bring what I was exposed to the positive, to the good. You know what I mean? I always wanted to bring it here. I didn't want to just perpetuate it in a certain light. I wanted to bring it, hey, we can enjoy this feel. We can enjoy this style while, you know, praising God. I just knew I was always different. I mean, I always looked different, I always dressed differently, I always had more energy than like everybody around me. And I'm like, okay, I know there's something different. I didn't realize it was my calling. I think most people who have a calling look back and say, oh, that was my calling. I'm just kind of flowing, and then it's like, oh, this is my purpose. So when I was about 12 years old, that's kind of the year where I started more in music and in my church, in my area, at my school. I was like the main keyboard player and piano player for the, what is that called? The assemblies in school, or the Black History Month, or the whatever events we had. I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? I'm different than everybody else. And I always had this other thing. I always just enjoyed playing, but I didn't realize that most people play like this. Tye, you play like this. You know what I mean? So I didn't know. I was just me, but that's the performance side that later I understood, oh, people enjoy that as a performance. That's just my expression, but people receive it as a performance. So let's cultivate it. You know what I mean? Let's grow it a little bit. And I've always had it. I mean, my mom told me from even 4 and 5 years old, she sent me pictures of me sitting my cousins down and, like, you know, doing things in front of them, like acting or something like that in front of them. I'm like, I was crazy for a long time. But yeah.